Okay. It took Chan 2 hours to call Malia after he dropped her off.
Those order.
Was he really at the gym, or did he watch her take a bath and listen to her talk with her friends about their date? Definitely the latter. He didn't go to no gym. He went straight home and turned them cameras on, had him a little drink, and was sitting there watching and wanted to hear what she was saying, what she was talking about. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it said that he watched her until she fell asleep. So clearly, I mean, even after their phone
Yeah, he
call
had already been
ended,
posted.
he got to watch her. He
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I don't think he went to no gym. There's no reason for him to do that. He was taking his sweet precious time. Plus, he wanted to know if she was going to wait up for him, and he conveniently called like after the phone call with her friends, as she was getting relaxed in the tub. It was like, okay, now I'm gonna call her. Because he's been watching her. He knows what's going on. He knows exactly
Mm-hmm.
where she's at, what she's doing. So it's like, all right, now I'm gonna get her. And he called her. The timing was too perfect, so I believe he was watching her. He went straight home and turned them cameras on. Or they were already on, but tuned in.
Tuned in.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts, Kitty A?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree that he was sitting there watching her. And I was really ticked off with Chan in this scene because I'm like, how devious are you? You supposedly love this woman so much and you're just sitting over here getting off, watching her squirm, just, oh, I just can't wait for him to call me. And when's he gonna call me? And she's getting upset, she's clearly bothered. And you're just sitting there just having a good old time in the Lord, like just watching her
Praise
squirm
God.
all over the
No, Lord.
I was really ticked off with Chan in this scene. I'm like, no, you didn't. And then you're going to wait till she gets relaxed and settled and then call her after she done,
Messing up the bath. Like
are
she
you,
ran out the bath.
are you asleep? Like, sir.
You know what's funny? When I read that, I was like, oh, I know Kyrie's pissed. Like, I knew.
I felt it. I felt it in the
I
spirit.
knew that she would be. So to hear her say that, I was like, I was right. Because
Mhm.
a few episodes back when they were talking about the cameras actually being installed and stuff, she's like, oh my God, it's such an invasion of privacy. Like, can you imagine trying to have a moment, where you got to fart or you got to do something? And it's like, so I read that and I was like, oh, I know she mad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very
Didn't
rude.
like that.
Very rude.
Yeah. Watching her squirm,
Mhm.
like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that Chan went to no gym. I think he went home and I think he got comfortable and I think he tuned in for the show. Um, like I feel like it would have been kind of like I'm trying to put myself in the mind of Chan. It would have been kind of exciting, to sit back and watch what a person thinks about you. Could you imagine if every guy you dated or wanted to date, you had you had an ability to tune in on him to see like what he really thought about you? Because if he was like, no, like she cool, but I don't like really see that going nowhere. So I'll probably kick it with her for like another maybe 2 or 3 months because Tiffany's actually moving back up here from Florida. So, you know what I'm saying? Once she moves up here, I'm definitely gonna like cut everybody loose. I'm gonna focus on her. You would know not to like get too deep into something. So what do you want to say, Kyrie?
I was just thinking about that. I'm just like, dang, like that would be nice to know, but dang, that would be so hurtful. Like,
It would be hurtful, because it would also explain why some people just switch up like so quickly. Some people
yeah.
like, I mean, I know she was raised conservative, but like, I'm not gonna be waiting around for her. Like, we done been on 3 dates now, and I still ain't okay. Well, she's getting whatever. Like, like I think it would be interesting to kind of just see like what people really think behind closed doors because you don't know what anybody thinks. All you know is what people display to you. So I definitely think Chan was like, let me get comfortable. Let me get me a little bowl of popcorn. Let me see what the girls are talking about. Because Wendy and Eva and Malia was on the phone. They were just going at it, laughing and joking and having a good time. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to see that conversation? Is it right? Absolutely not. I mean, that's part of what happens when you put your heart out there. You take a risk. Love, finding love is a risk. So somebody taking away your ability to like find your own thoughts, that's weird because like, could you imagine if you're just like, my grandfather told me if a man ever does this or says this to me, then he's the one. That's how you know, right? And then this fool hears it and he's like, I want to tell you that, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, my grandfather always said, like, you take away people's ability to make decisions about their life, this relationship, because you're watching me. You know what I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying, you know how I'm feeling. And so you can be all things to me, like, oh my God, he's just so perfect. Well, if you've always heard me, me sitting up here talking about something, I want a bubble bath, or I want this, and then he's coming through with it. You're just like, how do you know that? So it's truly, really, yeah, it's truly invasive. Like I said, did I enjoy that part? Absolutely. I think it would be cool to kind of see what people think. But then at the same time, what if somebody says, oh, honey, I'm going to scam him. I'm just going to rob him and bounce. You're like, like it might be good to know that's the thought process, but it would definitely be hurtful, to know that this person doesn't really like care about me. She's just basically going to try to get a bag from me. Like, I'm all invested. I really care about this woman and she wants to just use me. Like that would be really hurtful. But yeah, the
Yeah,
world is a very, very hurtful place. No, I don't
definitely
think that
vitamin.
Chan was at no gym getting beefed up. I think he was watching Malia. He wanted to see, what does she talk about? What is she talking about? You know? So that's what I'm
Mhm.
thinking of what's happening. Because like Alicia said, it makes perfect sense with the timing. She was off the phone with her friends. She was in the bathtub and she was relaxing. And then all of a sudden the phone rings and she jumps out. And it's like, I don't know if it was restricted or private, but there was no information on it. And she was just like kind of freaking out, like, oh my God, this is the hospital. Did something happen to my dad again? Even though he really deserved everything that God gave for him, you know what I'm saying? But she was still worried about like, did he ever relapse? He was acting weird this evening at dinner anyway. Like, did he have to go back to the hospital? She's freaking out. So that was that. Okay, the next question is mine. It says Malia was offended when she thought Chan had fallen asleep on the phone with her. She had been waiting for this moment and she was not having it. Has something like this ever happened to you? I fully agree with why Malia felt annoyed. I mean, they've hung out how many times? He didn't ask for the phone number. She called her friends up, whining and complaining about it. They was like, sis, figure this out. Like, you grown. Like, you stop it. You know what I mean? To finally be on the phone with him and you're excited. And then it's like, are you there? He was there, but he was like watching her on the camera and his mind is on other things that are probably very dirty and naughty. So, there were times where he was spacing out and she's like, are you sleeping? Like, and she got irritated. Yes, I have had situations like that where, when I was younger, I'll tell you, it was actually when I was dating T, he works construction. So they have pretty long hours. And, I lived in Tacoma, so we were only seeing each other on the weekends. I would come to Vancouver or he would go to Tacoma, but we didn't see each other during the week. We only saw each other on the weekends. So when I would talk to him on the phone during the week, sometimes I would be talking, I'm excited to talk to my dude. And then he would fall asleep and I'd be like, hello. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I had a long day. And I'm like, listen, okay, I understand that. Like the first few times I was okay. But I told him, let me tell you something. All we got is this telephone until Friday. I see you Friday through Sunday. Baby, I need you to be present with me on the phone. Like, you don't have to speak to me all night, but I'm going to need you to give me at least a good 45 minutes to an hour of solid conversation. Make me feel like I got something to hold on to until I can see you Friday. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I definitely understand, like, feeling, irritated because if I've been waiting for this call from you. I want to talk to you. And this is their first conversation. This ain't like they've been talking, for 6 months and he fell asleep because that's normal. That happens. But this is our first conversation. And she's like, where's the engagement, sir? Like, where are you? What happened? So she was a little irritated. And I am with her. Like, don't play games with me. I've been waiting for this call. I need you to be fully interactive. Like, let's be here together. Let's be fully present. Because if not, I'm going to be upset. Next question for you ladies to answer. Or this part. Who wants to
Um,
go? Who wanted
I
to?
don't think it's ever, not that I could remember. I don't think I've talked to a guy that or a phone call I've been waiting on, and he's like fallen asleep or he wasn't present or something. I don't think that's happened to me. By the way, again, Karina, I apologize. I fell asleep on the phone with her last night. She was talking and it was his lights out. I had a hard
It's
day. I
okay.
had
I've
some.
fallen asleep with you on the phone before too. I'm
Right.
sorry. It
We've done
happens.
that to each other instead of just like, girl, I love you. I'll call. Well, we will get
Yeah.
off the
And it
phone.
wasn't even like late,
Fine.
late. It was like 6, but she worked all day
Yeah,
and then she went to the
I had
doctor and stuff.
already.
So.
I went to work, and then after work, I had a procedure done, and I was like, trying. I was in bed, comfortable, had some leftovers, and it was lights out. So I apologize for that. But
It's all good.
we got good convo though. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like, this situation. So no, I don't think that's happened to me that I can remember. Um yeah, I don't think that's happened to me. Not a phone call I was waiting for or something, with a guy. Anytime I've talked to a dude and I wait for them to call, um they call and we'll talk or not talk or whatever, but yeah, I don't think nobody's ever fallen asleep or didn't seem interested in a conversation or whatever. No, not that I can remember.
I'm
What
sorry if
you
my
got?
energy just changed. I went to go and drink my coffee and I found a bug in my coffee. So
Oh, child.
that look of anger and rage. Mhm.
Yeah, I was wondering. That's why I kept repeating myself. I'm like, did I? What did
Girl,
I
I looked at
say?
my coffee and I was like, there's a
I
bug
was
in my
like, I don't.
coffee.
That's why I had to think about it. I'm like, I don't think that ever happened. I don't think that ever happened
Well,
because I
that's
said
why
it the
I just
first time.
I had to put it out there because I was thinking they're gonna be like, what was wrong with her? A bug in my
Right.
coffee.
No, no, no. That's why. Yeah. Okay.
Deeply
Sorry.
upsetting. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Kyrie. Come on, mother.
Go ahead, Carrie.
Y'all know it has not happened with me because I ain't staying up past no late times talking to nobody on the phone. So never even had an opportunity for it to happen. So
Yeah.
Never.
Hmm.
Never.
sorry, I'm no fun. I have no fun
It's
stories.
okay. It's okay.
Well, I guess people probably think
I
it's funny.
mean, it is funny though.
Our next question is, why did Malia feel the need to say she was taking a bath alone? She put emphasis on being alone. Was that her way of inviting him over? No, I think that she was just teasing him. A little Rose City
Definitely.
banter. You know what we do in Rose City.
Hmm.
A little teasy
You know. You know. I
here.
know. I agree. What were your thoughts, Alicia?
Um. Yeah, I think it was like she said, the little playful banter that's now starting to annoy me because they do it so much and then nothing happens. He leaving people hanging and stuff. I'm like, you talk that good talk, but you don't walk it. Um,
Mm-hmm. Walking like you talking.
it could have been a way of inviting him over. Maybe, especially after her friend, she don't had her bath now. She got her smell good going. She in bed, she relaxed. Her
No.
friends was like, "Hey, girl, you missed that. Like, you should have called, had him come up. Y'all would have had a night." So maybe she's thinking about that, and she like, you know what? Let me see something real quick. Without really, I'm gonna ask him without really asking. So
Right.
when she would put the emphasis on alone, hoping like, he's like, well, I could keep you company. And then that would be, that will go somewhere. So I think it
Mm-hmm.
was like a way of inviting him over. She probably, had a second thought like, dang, I shouldn't have let that elevator door close. Let's see if I can fix it now. So
Let me see
yeah,
if I can fix that.
yeah, it could have
Yeah,
been
I think
banter.
it
It
was
could have been
like
anybody.
I definitely think it was, it was some playful banter that she had. And I think there was some truth mixed to it. I think if he would have been like, well, I can come over now, I think she would have been like, oh, I don't think she'd have been like, well, I didn't really mean, I think she would have been like, okay, well, I'm gonna back this up. If I said it, I'm gonna back it up, right? But I definitely think it was like that playful banter of like, well, I'm here alone in this bath. I think it was kind of like, you missed an opportunity. Like you didn't ask to come upstairs and look, now I'm getting all clean in this bathtub by
Mhm.
myself. And you could have been here too, if you would have just asked. So I think it was something kind of like that, where it was like, if you would have just asked, then maybe I would have invited you up. But we'll never know now because you uh just left. You was just like, bye.
Right.
But again,
So
both of them are playing
that's on
games, and
both
it's like,
of them.
honey,
Yeah, that's what I was about to
yeah,
tell
it's
you.
on both of
Both
them.
of them. Y'all
Somebody,
both
somebody say
get
something.
that
Somebody make a
free.
move. Somebody shoot a shot. What are we
Hmm.
waiting for? What are we waiting for? So yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think it was playful banter, but I also believe that there was some truth mixed to it. I believe if he was like, "Hey, well, pull up now," and okay, we'll pull up then. Like,
Pull
say
up.
less,
Hmm.
pull up. You know, say less. So I think that was pretty much that. Next question is yours.
Alrighty, let's see. Sorry, I just had it. Jesus be
It's all
offense.
good.
Okay, boom. Okay. I laughed when Malia started spinning. I did too. I laughed when Malia started spinning
I
around the
did.
room, and Chan asked her what she was doing. I know the book stated earlier Malia loved to dance and taught a class. Why didn't she pursue her love of dance? That would have been funny because the spin was enough. I'm like, God, you talk about
But
drama.
he called her out though.
I'm
It,
calling it.
it was a call out for me. He was like, well, what are you doing? Even though he saw her, she's like, I'm working out before I go to bed. But he knew she was
Right.
just excited. She was on some
He
Disney
almost
princess
told on
energy.
himself
Like
though, because yeah,
he did.
like he had to think of something real quick because it's like, wait, how do you know? I'm sure she wasn't like, I am spinning and was spinning. You know what I mean? So she took her little spin and fell on the bed. And he's like, hold on, what you
She was a
doing?
little bit out of breath and a lot of noise was going
Right.
on. Like, what are you doing? Like,
But
yeah.
yeah,
I thought it
so
was cute of her.
I just think I don't know. It's funny. I'm
I
like,
thought it
people
was
don't
cute of
really
her.
do
And I think
that.
it was
It was
I think it
cute,
goes
but
back
I'm
to her
like,
being like a dancer. Yeah, most people aren't going to do it, but I think if you're a dancer, like you just do
I
weird little
mean,
things
I'm
like
not a
that. You're always
professional dancer, but
moving.
I can move. But and I've never gotten so excited where I had to get up and bust the move. Like this is awesome. Hold on, let me give us. Nah, it's never been.
You can't just stand there, baby. You gotta bust the move.
And I got yeah. Like let me get up and nay nay because this is it.
You know,
Um,
stop it.
I got me some good news, girl. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do something now. No, I don't know.
Malia's like a
I
graceful,
just thought it was funny.
like jazz dancer, ballet type of thing. When I get excited, I will dance, but it's not like anything like beautiful like that. It's me move, because you guys always be like, there, Karina, go with them shoulders. And, I be moving, what I'm saying? So,
Right.
so yeah. What were your thoughts, Kyrie?
Yeah, I laughed at this scene too because I've actually been caught doing something so hard where it's like, what are you doing over there? And I'm always like dancing and moving around and doing stuff randomly, not because I'm happy about who's on the phone, but just because I got
Right.
ADD
You just
and
happy.
I got to move around. And I love
Right, right,
dancing. But
right.
yeah. But yeah, what it says, why didn't she pursue her love for dance? And I couldn't remember you talking about anything earlier in the story unless we just forgot why you chose not to go that way with the story. So tell us more about that.
Um, just a little bit more about Malia's life. And, she loves to dance. She taught some dance classes, but like her grandmother and mother were like definitely against her trying to go after like a dance career. With her wanting to be like, I want to go to Juilliard, I want to move to New York, and I want to dance on Broadway. They was like, girl, please, you ain't that good of a dancer. Like Malia comes from a family of people who will step on your dream. Like, no, that's not practical. Okay, dancers are poor. Like, to break off into like dance. It's really, really hard to really make it in that industry. I guess it's hard to make it in any industry if you just be honest, and so it goes against that Rose City standard of life that you're supposed to marry somebody who's affluent like yourself and raise this beautiful black family and send your kids off to Ivy League schools or expensive private schools. And so I just feel like her wanting to pursue this dance passion of hers and like all well, on the East Coast, her family was like, no, you're just not going to do that. So they killed that dream. And so she was like, well, what else can I do? Like, I like fashion. So she was like, fine, I'll do business in fashion. And that's what she did. And even they were against that, but they were more so against her really wanting to do her dance career because they were just like, yeah, you're not going to be able to pay your bills. You're going to be a starving artist. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I used to want to be a dancer when I was little, and I was never allowed to move my body like that.
Right.
So I could never explore dance as much as I wanted to when I was a child. So that's why I went into praise dancing because that was the only outlet I had in that area. So I totally relate to Malia having that
Yeah.
oppression from her family in that area.
Right. Girl, my mom caught me dancing a few times. Just I would have my stereo in my room. And I was busting a move, honey. I was getting it. And my mom kicked in my door, which I didn't understand that. Like that woman, her and my father, they lived to act like they was the FBI. Boom, just what I'm saying there. And you're just like, oh my God. So their whole thing was, I'm gonna catch you doing something you ain't got no business doing. Like, what was I supposed to be doing? Like I didn't understand it, but I definitely lived under FBI surveillance my whole life. And anytime that my mom and dad wanted to issue a no knock warrant, they busted through the door. Like there was not no Karina, are you decent? I could be standing there naked, like what are you doing? I just want to see what you was doing, and they would just walk out. So honey, I had me some R&B on, and I was just feeling it, girl. I was dancing. My mom hit the door like she was the FBI, and was like, "You in here gyrating and shaking your hips," and I was like, "Okay." She was always talking about somebody gyrating. I was like, "What is a gyrate? What is that? What is this?"
Gyrate.
I
Oh
wasn't
my
doing all that.
lord.
I
I
was not doing none of that New Orleans bounce. But yeah, it was you gyrating and shaking your hips and working your body around like that. Turn that music off and get in there and wash some dishes. I would be so embarrassed. I was like,
oh
every time I would try to
thing.
dance, these people, huh?
The crazy thing, Heidi was on that same energy, but she always encouraged, maybe because she knew, because both me and my brother could dance very well. So we danced in church and stuff. My camera was off, but I was listening to Kyrie. She was like, I wasn't allowed to move my body like that, and I'm like, man, that's church. Um,
Yeah.
but that you took up, praise dance and interpretive dance. And so there was a little joke between the three of us that I had remembered. That's why I came back on giggling. But no, my mom, even though she didn't let me like listen to that kind of music, like she wasn't going to buy me the immature CDs or nothing like that. I still had my way of getting
No
them,
TLC, no
but
bringing
no
Monica.
TLC or
Yeah.
nothing like that. But if
No
I was doing
FAW.
like a school event, like we both were on the dance team at one point, and of course, that was the music that was played. It wasn't gospel. She encouraged it. She didn't want us to quit. She I don't know. She liked to dance herself. She told us in her younger years, and it was funny. Like she busted a move for us, and I was like, "Yeah, you definitely from the '50s." Um, so yeah, that was the one weird thing because Kitty did not play that. She didn't play the gyrating your hips, she would say, or moving your
Yeah,
butt or
gyrating.
nothing like that. And I grew up across the street, from Karina. So, we got in trouble together a lot. There were times that
All
no
the
knock
time.
warrant stuff, that was true. We just be in there chilling, watching TV, and boom, we all in
FBI
here
hit the
doing.
door.
And I'm like, oh my God. And she's
I
like,
mean, and
yeah,
it got so bad to
that
the
happens
point
all
where
the
they
time.
trained my brothers to do the same thing. So we could be in the
Yeah, the
room
brothers would do
watching
it.
TV with the door closed, watching sci-fi because we always was like big on, into like
Our
all those
channel.
scary movies and stuff. My
Hmm.
brothers would hit the door. What are you guys doing here? What's going on here? And I mean, people looking like under the bed, calling, make sure no boys up in here. I mean, I think one time we even had McDonald's and they stole some of our food. Like, yeah, I'm taking some of it. I'm like,
I mean, girl, we had it, didn't we? I was like, at
I
least my
mean,
brothers left us alone. But
yeah,
my dad
her
monitored
brothers
every
left.
piece of food. But my brothers didn't bother us.
Her brothers left them alone. My brothers kicked in the
Her
door too.
brothers,
Like,
especially if we were having a good time to ourselves. It's like, no,
oh
no,
yeah, they
let's
had
figure
to
out
ruin that.
mess this up. Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Oh,
um,
well, whose soda was that? Oh, okay, well, I drank it.
hmm
I mean, but you're gonna
oh,
say
that
after the
tasted
fact.
good. But yeah, so my mom,
Yeah,
she actually
I didn't grow up
encouraged
with
us
any
to dance.
privacy.
Mm.
Yeah.
I was
So I
surprised
think
the
that's what
parents
happened with Malia.
were allowed to have your door closed. I couldn't even close my door in the house. Got in trouble
Yeah,
for
I could have my door closed, but anytime they wanted to kick in the door, they kicked it in. So
I
they
think
busted in my room so many times to the point where We had to replace the whole door
Yeah, I
because the
was about
door
to say,
just
I'm
became
like,
so
the door
weak.
was broken at one time. It didn't even have
Yeah.
like the knob to turn for a while. Remember, it
Well,
was just
people,
the
because
hole.
I didn't do anything as a child. Like I was afraid of everything because they would just bust in my door. Like they would come in my room and they would take the phone away from me. Who are you talking to? Who's this? Like you talking
Mm.
about no type of privacy at all. Very sheltered. I was a prisoner of Guantanamo Bay, Scott family style. Girl.